Alright, welcome back to the channel. Now we're going to continue on from yesterday's upload where I was talking about doing some of the shadow work and how I was getting on with that. And in this one, I want to talk about just getting comfortable with your shadow self. We all have a bit of a dark side to us. A lot of us don't want to admit it. And I would like to think whenever I go out to do anything, particularly online, I guess, or, just talking to people in general, I like to think I'm a good person. I want to see the best in people. But I have been known to get into arguments over the years and, whether I've been right most of the time is anybody's guess. But my father always told me, growing up, never start a fight, but never walk away from one either. And there is a shadow side to yourself, and you need to get comfortable with it. Now, for me, doing this sort of thing, I want to be putting myself out as in good a light as possible. And you kind of have to these days. Like some of the earlier videos I did are sort of stuff that YouTube wouldn't allow online these days. But it was what it was back in the day. So, and even in saying that there, if anybody knows of those videos, they were entitled Worthless Insanity. If anybody has the memory to go back to that, they were not that far out of order. But some of the things that we didn't get up to, I wouldn't dream of doing today. But you need to get comfortable with that shadow side of yourself. And it does manifest in me a lot. I'm not going to lie. There is a part of me where there's a darkness comes out. And I was never actually 100% aware of where it came from and why it went that way. Now, 100% of the time that it comes out for me now is whenever I'm working with this little script folder. I write quite a bit. 2 or 3 times in a week I'll sit down and I'll start writing something, and I'm not going to lie, the vast majority of it comes out very, very dark. It's kind of like horror based sort of content. Whenever it goes to like a drama sort of a thing, it has like a dark edge to it. I've started to realise through the whole journey of doing the shadow work sort of thing, it's how I am manifesting the negativity that I have faced down over the last, I'm not even going to count up the years because I've got to that age now where I'm technically and realistically an old fart. So like even watching this channel, I don't like to be repeating myself too much for the people that's returning to the channel, but every video could be somebody's first video with this channel. But you grew up in an environment like I did, religious background, religious upbringing. A lot of the times over the years, I'll just move my head to the side and you look right behind me, there's Darth Vader right there with C-3PO. I would be like, took over the coals for it. And even if I look across here in the room, we've got an X-Files poster here, another little Darth Vader here, and a couple of little promotional banners from the Star Wars Special Edition whenever it first came out. So snide remarks and comments about my interests over the years and whatnot from the religious community has started to show up in my writing over the years. Until I did the shadow work, I didn't really understand why this was happening so much. I was trying to sit down and write something like a comedy, light-hearted way of going. Never came as naturally. If I sit down and do something horror-based, I could write a script in a couple of days. Really could. So I've just started to realise that's where it's coming from. The background that I have over the last more years than I want to recall at this point is manifesting within the scripts. Now there's 2 of them that I'm writing at the moment. One I actually just come up with the idea of a couple of days back, and that's going to be a dark comedy, dark horror comedy, and that's coming from that whole background of stuff. I'll not get into any details of what the script's about, but it's called Anagram. An anagram is like one word, change the letters to get a new word, and that's going to come out at Christmas 2026 if I successfully get it made. So take from that what you will. Another script that I've been working on, series of scripts actually, like that script I was just talking about, very much from the religious background it comes out of. There's another series of scripts of a series, could be a 10-parter series, online series. I'll never get something made that'll end up on Netflix. I can never see something like that happening. But it's called, what is it called? The name of it is actually completely left me now. Masquerade. That was it. Masquerade. That, just going to be brutally honest about it, I had an experience at like a New Age type of church on the north coast of Northern Ireland here, called the Vineyard. And this is probably one of the darkest openings to a script I've ever written in my life. It's very, very much based in the horror genre, and it actually starts out in a bit of a bloodbath. You don't actually get to see the massacre, let's just say, that happens at the beginning of it, but you do get to see the surrounding effects of the opening to it. And there is a visual in there with a severed arm from the elbow joint down to the hand. Police come and surround the house where this is all happening at, call the guy out, and his response is to get this arm that's been chopped off, move the fingers and whatnot, so there's just that one middle finger, the Botty finger, left, and he uses like a bit of dark tape to tape down the other fingers, and then tape like a small kitchen knife to the back of the hand to keep the middle finger up, and he throws that out at the police. So that very, very dark opening comes from my, I'm just going to be brutally honest about it, the religious experience that I've had with a New Age church in the last 15 years or so. That is, that's where my darkness is coming from. That's insane. But, getting very, very comfortable with it now. As I say, didn't understand where it was coming from, but I'm dealing with it in a very grown-up and safe way. A lot of people, whenever they get affected by something, they could be going out and physically taking their frustrations out on other people, being violent and whatnot. And, you don't want to get into too many details about that sort of behaviour on here either these days. But you get my meaning. There's a darkness in everybody. How you deal with it, it defines the sort of character that you really are. And it's not like it's the 90s anymore. We can't deal with frustrations the way we did back in the day. That's a video for another time. But fighting a very grown up and responsible way of dealing with whatever's going on in your head is definitely the way forward. And I've actually, in the last couple of days, having realised this, and as sitting down to write a few scripts every once in a while, whether they get made or not, is my coping mechanism for stuff that's going on in the past. And it's just freed me up mentally right now to understand that little bit of darkness in myself, where it comes from. Again, dealing with it in a grown up and safe way through writing scripts and whatnot. So you got to get comfortable with it. It's always going to be there, and there's no point in trying to hide from it. You need to deal with it properly. And if you can find a way to work out what your darkness is, or your shadow is, your shadow self, whatever way you want to put it, find a way of dealing with that in a grown-up way instead of doing something that's going to hurt other people or yourself in the long run. You just need to forget what people think about you. That was my big problem over the years. Again, this all came from stuff, snide remarks as a child. Like, I'm going back to 7 or 8 years old, and the stuff that I had to listen to for having these silly little interests like Star Wars and Star Trek and X-Files and that sort of thing. Be yourself. Learn who you are inside, mentally, and accept yourself for who you are. Once you get comfortable with that, dark side of your personality, you're going to sleep a lot better. Like the sleep that I've been getting over the last 2 or 3 days, that I've come to the realization, this is what's happening. This is why I do this. It's just like, I'm not the bad person that these head cases try to make me out to be over the years. It's because I had some interest that didn't align with their interests. That is what it is. Right, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hope you found it helpful. And if you haven't done it yet, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll talk to you in the next video.